What up? It's your boy, Dick Incredible Man. Yes, I am back at it again, and this is Black Clover episode 143 review. YAMI Daicho, Sugoi. Let's get it, man.
I don't think I do it good, no, I think I do it great. They would do it if they could, they can't do it, so they hate. Everybody wanna look, but nobody wanna play. Stealing eyes.
This episode was absolutely wonderful and legit, and granted, I say that every week, but it is very valid because the training arc is absolutely wonderful. It was, don't get me wrong, I loved all of the other stuff that took place beforehand where we saw everyone training individually and getting some character progression, and that was cool and fine, but now we're dealing with something maybe a little more in-depth, and it's not really, doesn't really have anything to do with training, but it's still such a good story being told in the training arc. So like, we got another mini arc inside of our training arc while dealing with the devil banishers. Dude. So this episode picked up right after last week's episode, and we see YAMI is now involved. He's found out everything, and he's pissed, man. YAMI is like super upset that, first of all, someone decided to attack his members. And they decided to do it while he's not there. But we got a lot of information this episode as well. We learned that Asta was hit with like a sleeping spell. We learned that Nero took the bracelet that the Magic Council or whatever gave Asta to keep track of, and she took it so they can find her with the location. We see Nozzle helping YAMI in the search, and we learn that Dominato didn't have anything to do with it. We knew this, but Ghosh was just, his mind was just so wrapped up in things, and once he found out everything that actually happened when the snow dude woke up, his first train of thought was to go to Dominato. And it's very valid because, you know, with the whole scales of injustice and darkness tilting, that's pretty much something probably that would come out of Dominato's mouth. And it was very valid for him to go there, but you didn't have anything to stand on it. You didn't have any kind of inkling in the investigation. You didn't investigate. You just assumed that because of that turn of phrase that, you know, oh, Dominato's involved. And then that's going to lead into something else because, you know, he just came in there, attacked the dude and all of this other stuff. And that led to some problems. But YAMI pretty much came in and solved them and squashed everything because YAMI was epic this episode. And I know I constantly say this, but a lot of people keep sleeping on Black Clover. I was going to say Black Bulls, but they keep sleeping on Black Clover, and I just don't know why, because it is absolute greatness, and it's popping off in the manga. Like, things is getting real crazy in the manga, so for my non-manga readers, I'm not telling you to read the manga, but I'm just saying, like, it's getting crazy in the manga. But yeah, man, this episode, we got a lot of information, and we see Mark's helping out with the parts, you know, with dealing in the mind, because otherwise we wouldn't have had any kind of information to go on. So all we had was Noel's visual presence, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't enough to really, you know, we know that something happened to Asta and they took Nero, but like they didn't know about what happened with Ghosh or that someone else was attacked. So there's a lot of information being passed around this episode, so we can kind of catch up, where we're kind of playing catch up with everybody else and trying to get on the same page. And we see Nozzle helping this episode, and I told you guys how I felt about Nozzle. Like, Nozzle is definitely becoming one of my top 5 characters. I love him so much, and so much more now that, you know, he's pretty much an open book now, and we know how he really feels about Noel. So Nozzle is definitely in my top 5 categories for characters of Black Clover. But we see him helping this episode, headed towards the town, and we see YAMI and Nozzle kind of going back and forth with their whole little dynamic. We see Ghosh and Gordon having some comedy in the episode. So there was still comedy in this episode, but there was a lot of seriousness because we see YAMI's upset, Ghosh is upset about Mari, which is nothing new, but like he's sincere with it this time because, you know, she's taken and she's kidnapped yet again. And you can definitely understand where YAMI's coming from as well in Ghosh. And what I love about it is because it shows like it's a serious threat, but like at the same time, like we know that they can't be taken serious. I mean, because the devil banishers, maybe if they had like a cooler name, I could definitely, okay, well, now there may be some trouble. The devil banishers. And these people, there's something wrong with these people, man, because for one, even if they decided to take Nero because of her horns and everything, we love Nero, and they may see her a little different with the devils and stuff, but Mari really? So they're just taking everything at face value, because we all know that all of this stuff is all just a ploy from like the king and Dominato and everything to put the blame on somebody. Now, Dominato knows the actual logistics of everything, but at the same time, somebody has to take blame for this, for what happened to the kingdom, because that'll alleviate the stress on all of the people within the kingdom. And I feel like that's definitely going to come into play once we actually deal with the main threat and the other devils. So now, the good thing is that, like, this episode, it ended on, I guess you could say, like a semi cliffhanger, because we see that one chick that, she's still at her husband and her mother-in-law's grave. Is she mortified? I really can't tell. I mean, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that she let those people die because he said something to her. But like, we see her at the grave and she's all mortified and she's crying, she's kneeled down, and I'm assuming she's putting on a facade so people don't really kind of get weary of what she's doing. And then all of a sudden we see Funeral and Yami show up there, and that's how the episode ends. But I'm loving it because we're getting such a dark stuff has happened in Black Clover, but I guess you could say this is dark and realistic, and that's what I'm loving about it, because it's so real, because this is something that could actually happen. Someone having some trauma in their life and taking all of their anger out on someone else so they don't have to actually deal with what actually took place with the trauma, if you kind of catch my drift. And I'm loving that, man. But we see a lot of stuff take place. We get a lot of more information, and everybody's pretty much on the same page. And one thing that I just loved about this episode is now we're at the whole point to where Gordon is just like straight talking out loud. He's not whispering anymore. So I am loving it, man. This episode was absolutely legit, and I can't wait for 144, because I want to know how this whole little mini arc is going to conclude, because I feel like we're going to get some realization with some stuff as well. But I really want to know this chick, man. What is going on with this chick? Because I'm not understanding what is her thought process in this whole thing. This is your boy, Nick Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash the like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe. But only if you really want to, man. Remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.
I cannot